If you're using Facebook every day just to log in and scroll, what I'm going to tell you to do today is not really much more advanced than that. I'm on your Facebook right now. You have like 1,000 friends or less. You don't post. Why are you ever going to go after cold prospects when you're not even engaging the people that already know, like, and trust you? If you're using social media the right way and you're posting, you really don't need, in my opinion, to call people for no reason, because a lot of your posting is going to do the heavy lifting for you. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Agent Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Caffarella. My mission and Agent Investor's mission is to get real estate agents off the real estate roller coaster by giving them the ability to invest in real estate, regardless if you have any money to start, any expertise, etc. We are going to teach you the tips and the tricks and the tools that are needed to generate passive income, to flip properties, ultimately, how to more bulletproof your retail sales business and diversify your income so that you're not just reliant on 100% retail sales. We know how difficult the market is right now. It is a very challenging market. You know, as I'm talking right now, October 2025, we're actually seeing a little bit of a shift in the market. And the shift in the market is that the buyers have a little bit more power than they used to have. Now, that is actually making things even harder for retail traditional agents that just sell homes and don't have any investment income, because buyers are being more picky, right? So now, October 2025, just having a listing isn't even enough to guarantee income. We are seeing more listings sit, more listings expire. We are seeing it becoming harder to work with buyers because buyers now know they're in the driver's seat. Not in all markets and not in every town and city across the US, but again, it is becoming increasingly difficult to earn a living in real estate and make really good money by just only selling real estate. So this podcast is all about teaching agents how to add investing to their income, adding a real estate investing income, again, without adding a bunch more hours every week, without needing to have money to start, without needing to have, a degree in investing. We teach you the simple and practical principles that you can put into place today, right? Today. Okay. So today, specifically, I'm going to cover a topic that I almost feel like in 2025, I shouldn't even need to cover, which is how to use social media to generate leads. And the reason I say that I feel like I almost shouldn't need to cover it is because utilizing social media the right way is so simple, so easy. And all of us, there's probably nobody listening to this right now that hasn't been on social media for a pretty long period of time. But it's funny because when it comes to generating leads through social media or even creating content on social media, the more and more I talk to agents, the more I realize that it's an overcomplicated thing. It can be so basic, it can be so easy. And today I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I do today in order to generate, I would say on average, I probably get one lead a day for either a seller selling their property or a fix and flip opportunity. Some days I get two or three, some days I get none. But I would say, as of right now, I probably get about a lead a day. So if you're not getting a lead a week or a lead a month using social media, it's not going to take you too much effort to get up to that point. And I'll explain to you how. Now, our podcast, it typically lasts, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I can't cover everything that I really want to cover related to social media in that amount of time. I am going to be doing an in-person event that you can register for. at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Again, that's www.agentinvestorevent.com. Go to the URL, register, and you'll be able to get, more like 3 hours of in-person live training on social media lead generation. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into the things I want to cover. All right. So first and foremost, like what are the reasons we want to use social media? For one, it's free. Yeah, you can have paid social media ads. You can spend money on social media, but I don't spend any money on social media. I have in the past, and I don't really truthfully recommend it. I've never gotten great leads from paid social media. I have gotten an incredible amount of great leads from, my social media, my free social media. And the thing about paid social media is as soon as you flip the switch off, now you're getting no leads. But when you utilize social media the right way, and I'm not perfect at it. I'm going to tell you what I do, but I'm not perfect at it. I just do it like reasonably well. I probably do it 80% as well as I want to do it. If you do it half as well as I do it, you do it, 40% capacity, you're going to get results. But the great thing about social media, when you build up your own account that's not paid, it's almost like SEO with the website. Like you just keep getting leads and getting leads and getting leads, and more people see your content and more people follow you, etc. As of today, I think I've got maybe 8,500 followers. Now, to put this in perspective, I've never run ads. I've never run ads to my personal Facebook account. I don't even think you can. I think you need a page to do that. So I've got 8,500 followers to my personal account, unpaid. And to put that in perspective, like I'm not famous in any way. Like those of you who know me, probably know me as somebody who's done pretty well in our industry. Yes, I do have a following, but I'm not Grant Cardone. I am, not, Robert Kiyosaki, nothing like that at all. So all of the followers I have, the 8,500 or so that I have, and also I've got 15,000 people in my real estate group, right? Most of you know the Agent Investor group. You can go to www.agentinvestor.com and see my Facebook group of 15,000 realtors in it. So what I'm telling you about today, the amount of followers, the amount of leads, etc., it's all done from somebody who just started from, ground up, did not have any massive fame, was never on, a flipping TV show or never had any national prominence of any kind. So it's important to mention that because everything that I've done, you can do, right? So just keep that in mind. So I've got like 8,500 followers, and I did a post yesterday because I look to see how many views I get every month. I get close to 100,000 views on my personal content every month. I think last month I had about 80,000 views. So, I try to post, most days. I probably average posting, I'm going to guess 5 times a week, 4, 5, 6 times a week, depending on the week. Sometimes I post a couple times in a day. Sometimes I don't post for a couple of days. And most of the time when I post something, I get somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 views, right? All free, right? So 1,000 to 3,000 people see my content every month. They see my stories. They see my Facebook posts. They see some stuff in my Facebook group. So I'm getting thousands of people, and those people multiple times viewing my content, what I want to, I guess, for lack of a better word, sell every single month. And again, I do that only spending probably about 15 or 20 minutes a day, which is really the second reason why you really, really, really want to use social media. It's 15 or 20 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be more. In fact, I have spent more time doing it. And what I found is that 15, 20 minutes a day is kind of the sweet spot for me to get pretty good results, but without having to spend all day on it. And I mentioned, like, everybody has social media today. The number one social media platform that I recommend using, just because it's got the most people, is Facebook. I think most people have Facebook. Most people log into Facebook. Most people use it. It doesn't involve any sort of technical skill. Like everything I tell you that I do, anybody can do it. You don't need to be tech savvy at all. If you're using Facebook every day just to log in and scroll, like what I'm going to tell you to do today is not really much more advanced than that. Okay. So it can be done in a very brief period of time. Okay. Third reason why it's so important. I actually had one of my agents reach out to me that's in my inner circle program. He reached out to me yesterday and he said, Tom, I want to talk to you about some lead generation strategies. And he went over a bunch of like prospecting type strategies. And I said to him, I'm on your Facebook right now. You have like 1,000 friends or less. You don't post. I said, why are you ever going to go after cold prospects when you're not even engaging the people that already know, like, and trust you? Now, I know as agents, when you hear that, you understand it, right? That's your sphere of influence. Your social media profile, your Facebook profile, it's the ultimate sphere of influence mechanism. And I talked to him about it and I gave him my opinion. And his follow-up question was like, yeah, I know I'm not that good at social media, but what about this other prospecting strategy? And I said to him, I said, I don't think, I don't know if you're getting this, but you're basically saying to me that you want to focus on a less effective strategy for some reason. So if you're on here, and again, you're not generating a couple of leads a week, if you don't have 5,000 Facebook friends, if you're not posting a few times a week, you're missing the boat. And there's no excuse to not do it because this stuff is so easy. Again, I'm going to give you guys a lot of information today, but if you kind of like the genesis of what I'm saying right now, make sure you register for my social media event that's free, that's coming up at www.agentinvestorevent.com. So just a couple of things to consider, like in this 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to give you guys some tidbits here, but it takes no time to friend request people, right? It takes no time. Facebook doesn't allow you to friend request 1 million people in a day anyways. I think maybe you could do 20, 25. They're going to set controls on you. So if you're not sending if you don't have 5,000 friends and you're not sending out 20 or 25 requests a day, I guess my question is, why not? Like, you need at least 5,000 friends. You need to have your reach. Because every time you post, if you've only got 200 friends, the max that Facebook is going to show your message to is 200 people. So it goes without saying that you want to have as many people connected to you as possible. And if you are not famous, like I'm not, then you've got to be the one doing the outreach. You've got to be the one that's sending those connections. So you got to figure out, who to connect with. We'll talk about that in order to generate leads. There's a lot of strategies that I've utilized in order to generate leads, for my business. So, and the second thing every day that I do is I send 15 or 20 messages on Facebook. Now, you all know, like, I promote my partnership program. And if you're listening to this and you're connected with me on Facebook, I'd be surprised if you would check your inbox, and if you've never gotten a message from me saying, hey, like, this is my partnership program, do you want to learn more about it? And I know I talk about it a lot. My partnership program, we put up all the money, we do all the construction, and we split the profits with agents 50-50. just for finding us fix and flip opportunities. If you want to learn more about that, go to my on-demand webinar at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. Again, that's partnerwithagentinvestor.com. All right, so we already went over the fact that social media is free. My goodness, like you couldn't ask for anything better when it comes to a marketing platform. The second thing we talked about is that you can do it in your spare time. All you've got to do is connect with 15, 20, 25 people a day, send 15, 20, 25 messages a day, and then post, right? Posting is simple, right? Feel free to check out my Facebook profile. Go to Tommy Caffarella, Tommy, and then my last name, Cafarella. Check out how often I post. Check out what I post. Check out what you think you might do differently than me. I'm not perfect at it, but I will tell you this. I'd be surprised if anybody who's listening to me generates as many seller leads and flip opportunities as I do using social media. So if you go on my Tommy Caffarella Facebook profile and you're like, geez, I can make way better content, that's great. Maybe you'll get more leads than me. But one thing that I do for sure when it comes to social media is I'm consistent. Like if you scroll through my feed, you will see that I post 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week, right? And the other thing you'll see if you were to check my profile over time is that my followers grow. And again, to be clear, I'm not famous, I'm not special. I've had some success. I think people get value when they listen to me, so they follow me because of that. But if you were to check, like my followers, my growth, it's slow and steady. I don't know what I add, every month. Maybe I add 100 followers a month, something like that. It's nothing outrageous, but I am constantly being consistent. I'm constantly adding people, asking people to follow me, sending messages and posting content. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of as simple as that. You get to know, again, at my event, we'll talk about the strategies on who to try to connect with, because it is important. Like if you friend request 5,000 people that are not potential clients, well, now you're just broadcasting your message to 5,000 people that you won't get business from. So I'm going to talk about the strategies and how to pick your niche and how to get in front of those people in a strategic way at my event. I'm also going to talk about, like, at the event, what type of messages to send to people. Because, the last thing you want to do is send messages to people that they consider spam. And I try to avoid that as much as possible. And then I'm also going to focus on the content strategy. Content strategy is, again, not that complicated, but people a lot of times they get worked up about it. They're like, I don't know what to do, or they spend too much time creating content. It doesn't have to be that big of a production. And for me, again, usually between adding people, sending messages and posting every day, that's usually about, 15, 20, 25 minutes a day. And again, you can register for my event at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Now, the next part about it that I just want to mention really quickly is you do want to, if you can, have a multiple social media strategy. Meaning, I mentioned Facebook is the best one. It's the one I would focus on. But if you've got Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or all of these other platforms, and you're already creating content for one, well, you might as well repurpose it on the other platforms. And I'm going to talk about what platforms are working for me in 2025 and how to repurpose the content in a way that's very simple and easy and doesn't take up a whole bunch of your time. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is like the follow-up component. So if we think about our sphere, and we think about the leads that we have or the leads that we generate, the new people that we meet, the new prospects that we meet that we put into our database, hopefully. One thing that salespeople, a lot of them, a high percentage of them, including me, they don't do a great job at is staying in front of people and following up. And part of that's because like we don't really want to bother people. I mean, even though we're salespeople, we're friendly, we're nice, we like to talk to people, we like to engage. We don't want to be a pest because guess what? If you're a salesperson, you probably care about what other people think. It just kind of goes with the territory. Like, well, I don't want to be this obnoxious used car salesman that, whatever. And a lot of the training that you might get at big box companies that I'm very against is like, they'll say, we'll call your database, once a quarter. And to me, if it's kind of it personally, if it's a little bit in like a contrived fashion, like, hey, how's the weather? Hey, like I'm going to follow up. Hey, I'm going to make up a topic to talk about. I don't think in 2025 you need to do that, especially with social media. And I'm going to tell you why. Because to me, that's outdated training based on how the world used to be. Nowadays, if you're using social media the right way and you're posting, you really, really, really don't need, in my opinion, to call people for no reason because a lot of your posting is going to do the heavy lifting for you. Now, again, if you look at my social media profile, you'll see it's not just all business. In fact, my biggest engagement comes from personal stuff. I always laugh about it. Like I was out with my wife the other night. I took a selfie of us just eating dinner and posted it to my story. And usually when I post to my story, I get 200 people that will at what I've posted. But a picture of me and my wife out to dinner, just like a random photo, 1,500 views. And I was just saying, like laughing with her. I'm like, it's so funny because people are often more interested in your personal life than they are like the business. Right. So um that one hit. Like I've taken a lot, if you look at my media account, a lot of it's personal stuff. And so people that are it's funny, you can build a relationship virtually now, whereby people feel like they know you because of what they've seen online. And it can be better and more effective, in my opinion, because you're not like harassing people. You're not calling them and making up a topic. And again, to my last point, people are interested. They're at work, they're bored, they're fooling around and they see a picture and they look at it. Right. So again, it's important not to just post business stuff, but also to post personal stuff. I don't do a great job of any of this. I do a consistent job of all of this and I get consistent results. Okay. But the point I was going to make there is your social media alone can be your follow up. Every time you talk to a new person, you should add them on Facebook. Every time that you get a new lead into your database, if you pay for a Zillow lead, you pay for a Redfin lead, whatever, like add that person to your personal account, right? Because the next thing that social media is going to do, it's going to be like your own credibility, right? So if somebody, all right, I'm going to say this, and this is going to probably come off the wrong way, but it's what I believe. I believe that in general, if somebody goes on my personal account at Tommy Caffarella and they scroll down, they're going to get to understand who I am. They're going to get to know my family. They're going to get to know my values. They're going to get to know what I do. And they're going to see that I'm a professional that has a good level of success at what I do. And so if you're connected if you generate, let's just say you generate a Zillow lead, and now all of a sudden they're connected to you on your Facebook profile. And now they see all the sales you've had and they get to know your family and what's important to you. the odds of you closing that lead go way up. And now, somebody who fills out that Zillow form, maybe they're not going to buy for like 3 years. Are you going to keep following up with them once a quarter? I can almost guarantee you're not. But if they're connected with you on social media and you're posting about real estate in your life and you're engaging and it's good content, now when they're ready to pull the trigger, the odds that they're actually going to reach back out to you go way up, especially if you're using the messenger feature. Again, guys, I'm giving you kind of the tip of the iceberg. If you're like, wow, like this isn't that complicated. I could see myself doing some of the stuff. I've got 15 or 20 minutes a day. Make sure that you register for my next event at www.agentinvestorevent.com. It's a free event, so you can't go wrong. And, rather than just listening to this and not being able to ask questions, you can ask questions live. So again, that's www.agentinvestorevent.com. Okay. So I want to talk, just a little bit more about, what typically happens to me on a day-to-day basis. And again, I want to be really clear. I get pretty good results most days. I get either a seller or an agent reaching out to me for a deal almost every day. Now, to be clear, like those don't all turn into sales, right? Just let's be clear about that. Like I get plenty of agents that reach out to me. They tell me they have an opportunity and then it doesn't work out, right? It happens, right? So I just want to be honest. I don't want to say, hey, I get 365 deals a year from this. No, but I probably get 80 to 100 off of something that's free that takes me 15 to 20 minutes a day. That's growing. Okay. So on a day-to-day basis, what happens for me is, right, I do my posts. Sometimes it feels like nobody's paying attention or nobody comments, or I get, 2 likes or I get 1 like. And the 1 like is like my mom, right? And I'm like, geez, like, it's not working. I didn't do a good post today, whatever. But out of the 8,500 people that follow me on Facebook, I would say I really know 1,000 of them. 1,000 of them, I could tell you where they live. I can tell you conversations. I can tell you meetings we've had, whatever. Maybe 1,000 out of the 8,500. Then out of the 7,500, I would say most of them, I recognize their name. I can maybe give you a tidbit, maybe guess at a couple things. But like 7,500 of them are in a category for me of like, we really don't really know each other. So every single day, almost every single day, and sometimes multiple times a day, one of those people who I thought maybe doesn't even know me, maybe they're friends, but they never look at my stuff, or, maybe, they don't like what I have to post, or they don't like me, or maybe they don't even see my content. Almost every single day, one of those people reach out. And it's a really simple conversation. They always reach out through Facebook Messenger. They always say, hey, Tom, we've been connected for a while. We've never, talked before, but I'm selling my house, or I've got a deal. I've got a fix and flip opportunity for you. And it's in those moments that I get reminded of quite often that I'm doing a reasonable job on social media, and that it's really, really worth it. I mean, what would even 1 lead a week do for your business? I'm talking 1 lead a day. And I would say, just to give you guys a little clarity on like, how this works. Because again, you can only add so many people a day. You can only message so many people a day. So I would say it probably took me about 5 years to get to the 1 lead a day. But it grew, pretty linear. I probably did have, 3,000 or 4,000 friends a couple years ago, 3,000 or 4,000 followers a couple years ago. But I probably wasn't as consistent with my content, with my messaging. So it's really been, maybe 2.5 years of me following a very consistent protocol. And another thing that, it's probably not something most of you should be thinking about right now, but if you do have 5,000 friends, there's actually programs you can use to figure out who sees and who comments, and like who you probably maybe should remove, and then who you should add. So, high level with all this stuff, the reason I'm doing this event is really because of the person that's in my office that is kind of like looking to not do social media. Like they want a cold call or a door knock or text or send letters first. It's like, if you're not, I don't think I'll get to the point where I'm generating 10 leads a day from this. So there probably is a limit, right? If I get to 2 leads a day in the next few years, I'll be jumping up and down. I'll be happy. But dollar for dollar, pound for pound, these are my best leads. This is the cheapest lead source I have. And by the way, again, like let's say I send a mailer out, right? Seller responds, yeah, like come out to my house. I'm always competing with 1 million people there because they don't really care. Like when I send a mailer, that person doesn't care about me. Just like when somebody fills out a Zillow form, they don't care about you. They'll talk to 500 other people. When somebody reaches out to you on social media, it's because you've literally been in front of them virtually for potentially years, and they want to work with you. So when somebody gives you a lead, when somebody reaches out to you, hey, we haven't met in person, but I listened to your podcast, or I like your post, or like, I know you sell real estate. That's like 100% that they want to work with you, right? And I said a minute ago, like, I don't convert every lead somebody sends me, but I can tell you the intention of that person when they reached out to me was to do business with me, as opposed to like a Zillow lead or like a mailer lead. Those people, they don't care who they use. They just want the best price or the cheapest commission or whatever. So I beg of all of you, like, use social media. Come to my event because I'm going to show you step by step on how to do all of this. Like I covered it at a very base level right now. I'm going to go into much granular detail at my event. Register for my event at www.agentinvestorevent.com. And, it is the best bang for your buck that you're going to get. And again, it's very low time and no cost. So do the easiest, most impactful stuff first. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.